What's up guys, Mickle here, and with all the major motions now filed in the Ripple SEC case, in this video I want to talk about potentially how this case could end. What does a settlement look like for Ripple and the SEC? What does a summary judgment win look like for either side? And what do I think is the most probable outcome in this case? Guys, in this video, we're going to talk about that as well as a brand new case that was just filed against the SEC. Guys, I want to talk about that, and at the end of this video, we're going to have some Christmas fun. We're going to go over the new bearable guy riddle that was just dropped today. Guys, make sure to stick around to the end of the video to see that. You're not going to want to miss it. Like always, guys, your support means so much to this channel. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below and turn on bell notifications. These three simple things are going to go such a long way in helping this channel grow, and it really does mean so much to me. If you guys ever need a good place to buy some XRP, make sure to check out my link for Uphold down in the description below. Uphold is my favorite place to buy and sell XRP. With that said though, guys, let's jump right into the video, and I hope you guys enjoy the content. So guys, real quick, moomoo just upped their holiday promotion, and you can now win 20 free stocks if you sign up with moomoo using the link in the description of this video. Guys, you can also win a chance to win $60,000 in their holiday sweepstakes. Guys, moomoo is an awesome trading platform. They have a great interface and they're regulated. So guys, do not miss out on this opportunity to get some free money, and go sign up with moomoo now using the link in the description of this video. So guys, I want to start this thing out and go over a brand new case that was just launched against the SEC, and this is actually being led by Attorney Fred. Attorney Fred has been an awesome help to this channel. He has helped me break down so many different things in regards to the Ripple SEC case. But guys, take a look at this. This was tweeted out by his law firm. It says, "Merry Christmas, SEC Gov. The U.S. Postal Service said you received our certified mailing of the ETH December lawsuit against you. You now have until February 9th to answer and let us know if you think ETH and the Ethereum network are securities. But we both know you're going to try to move to dismiss." So right here, it looks like Attorney Fred is actually suing the SEC for not giving clarity on whether or not Ethereum is a security. Attorney Fred seems to think that the SEC is going to try to dismiss this case, just try to get it out of their way, and I completely agree with him. The last thing the SEC is going to want to do is have to answer questions about Ethereum in the middle of the current Ripple SEC case. But guys, this is going to be a very interesting thing to watch play out. It's very hard to tell where exactly the SEC stands on Ethereum. In the past, a lot of different SEC chairs, including Bill Hinman and Jay Clayton, were both pretty clear that they didn't think Ethereum was a security. But guys, now Gary Gensler seems like he's changing his tune a little bit and is now trying to go back and say, okay, well, maybe now Ethereum is a security. Guys, at the end of the day, this is something we need to know, and the SEC is hurting investors by not giving this clarity. I saw some people kind of reacting to this and saying, oh, it's front-running things that need to happen. You shouldn't be going after the SEC like this because if you lose, it could create a precedent that Ethereum is a security. Guys, at the end of the day, we just need clarity in this market. If we're going to wait for the SEC to give us that clarity, we could be waiting 15 to 20 years. So I really do think this is a very good way to get the ball rolling and bring the case to the SEC. Rather than the SEC having the time to wait and craft their perfect case for a perfect example of where Ethereum might look like a security, bring the case to them and force them to answer the question straight up. Why do you think Ethereum is a security? Now guys, I know a lot of people in the XRP community think that Ethereum at one point was a security, and I agree. The ICO tokens were likely a securities transaction. But guys, Ethereum in the market today should not be a security. It's relatively decentralized, there's no investment contract anywhere, and it just doesn't fit what the current mold for what a security is in the United States. This is the biggest problem the SEC has right now, regardless of whether or not when Ethereum was first sold that violated securities laws. That is completely independent of Ethereum today. Just like in Howie, how the oranges were originally sold as a security, but the oranges themselves were not a security, that same thing applies for Ethereum. So essentially, Attorney Fred is bringing this problem to the SEC, making them answer it straight up for the first time. Let's see how the SEC responds to this. He seems to think they're just going to try to dismiss this case and not give any straight up answers. Let's see if he has a trick up his sleeve to try to force their hand. For now, we're just going to have to wait and see what happens. But guys, we're going to be watching February 9th to see what the SEC does here. So guys, now I want to move on and talk about some possible conclusions for the Ripple SEC case. And guys, I think there's two main ways this thing can conclude. One would be a settlement and the other would be summary judgment, but I want to break down how a settlement would happen, how summary judgment would happen, what would each side get. And guys, I want to start off by talking about a settlement because I think the only way we really see a settlement right now is if the SEC is forced to hand over or forced to make the Hinman documents public. The SEC has technically already handed over the Hinman documents to Ripple, but they have not been made public. The SEC desperately does not want these documents to be made public because they have literally admitted in their last filing that if these documents are made public, it could hurt them in future litigation. Guys, I have been saying for a while now, the SEC wants to win this case against Ripple. It's not looking good, but they want to win. But the last thing they want to do is lose this case and also hurt themselves for every other future case they're going to bring. Guys, imagine a scenario where the SEC not only loses this case to Ripple, but loses so badly that they lose their power against other cryptocurrency projects. This is something the SEC cannot risk happening. The SEC would rather settle this case with Ripple, admit they lost, admit publicly they lost this case, but limit the damage. By settling this case, the SEC could prevent the Hinman documents from getting out. This would mean the SEC would say, you know what, we know we lost, but we're not going to make it so every other cryptocurrency company could use the evidence in this case against us in future cases. This makes so much sense to me because why would the SEC want to hurt themselves in the future? The SEC has already admitted that not every cryptocurrency out there is a security. They have come out and said this even under Gary Gensler. So them losing power over one cryptocurrency, XRP, likely isn't the biggest deal in the world. But it's a much bigger deal if they're running the risk over losing power over multiple different cryptocurrencies. And the only way that's going to happen right now is if the SEC does not settle this case and Judge Torres decides to make a bunch of stuff public that could really hurt the SEC later down the road. Now, guys, we also have to remember that Judge Torres would probably rather have these parties settle. It's probably highly in her interest to not have to make a very complex ruling like she's going to have to in this case. So it probably makes sense for her to try to force these parties to come together and settle. Guys, we know what Ripple wants to settle. They have made it very public. All they want is clarity for XRP going forward, and the SEC is the party that needs to be brought to the table. So guys, in my opinion, the thing that's going to bring the SEC to the table to settle this case is the Hinman documents. The SEC needs to know that the Hinman documents are going to be made public, and the only way they're not is if they settle this case. Guys, this is the main way I see a settlement happening. I think the other way we could see a settlement, which is related to this, is if we do go to summary judgment, Ripple wins big, and the SEC says, okay, we're going to sue you again unless you settle this case right now. Essentially, the SEC would be giving Ripple immunity in the future against future appeals and stuff like that, as long as Ripple settles. I think these are the two main ways we do see a settlement in this case. Both of them in Hinman emails are pivotal, and I think that is a massive issue going forward. I quickly want to talk about summary judgment though, because Stephanie Huber made a great point, and I think this could be spot on. One thing we have noticed throughout this entire Ripple SEC case is Judge Torres and Judge Netburn like to give Ripple the big wins, but then kind of hand the SEC a little win, I think kind of just to make things seem fair. Usually, whenever there's a controversial issue, Judge Torres or Judge Netburn will hand Ripple the big win, the most important thing, but then hand the SEC a bunch of little things that don't matter as much. Stephanie Huber tweeted out the other day, he said, my theory is if we go to summary judgment, Ripple knows they will win. That's why they didn't mention the Hinman documents, their most important fight in their summary judgment motion. That's why Judge Torres will rule in favor of the SEC, but give the ultimate win to Ripple. And what he's saying here is a little hard to track. He's saying that he believes Ripple is going to win on the issue of XRP not being a security. But the small win here that they're going to hand the SEC is they are not going to make the Hinman documents public. This essentially still makes it so the SEC is very unlikely to appeal this thing. They are not going to want to reopen the can of worms and reintroduce the possibility that the Hinman emails could be made public. Like I said earlier, the SEC is gonna be okay with taking a loss on just XRP. There are tens of thousands of tokens out there, it's not that catastrophic. What is catastrophic is losing power over the rest of the industry, and that's what the SEC wants to prevent from happening at all costs. Because of this, I do think this option is pretty likely. I can see this happening big time. Judge Torres saying XRP is not a security, but the Hinman documents, those aren't coming out. I think this is a pretty realistic way we do go to summary judgment. At the end of the day, I don't think there's any way Ripple is really losing this case at summary judgment. Everything I have seen from the judges, from the SEC, from Ripple, and from different lawyers following this case makes me think that if we do go to summary judgment, Ripple's going to win. That's another reason why you have to look at the first option. Guys, you got to think the SEC knows this too. You got to think a settlement is the best damage control for them going forward. Let's see what happens though. This is pretty interesting. So guys, like always, I'm running out of time. Wanted to quickly point out, we talk a lot about different theories on this channel. Guys, just know, and this was just said by John Deaton, the SEC's entire case against Ripple is a theory. There's nothing out there proving XRP is a security. This entire show we are in right now, it's all the SEC's theory, none of it's facts. So guys, just remember that all we are dealing with right now is theories. And guys, the SEC's theory is completely absurd. I want to finish this video off though with the new bearable guy riddle, and guys, we're not going to go over this in depth. I'm sure there is a lot of people doing that. The one thing I noticed is it looks like the SEC here in this riddle is ringing the bell. We have one brick in the wall missing. It looks like there's light on the other side of whatever we're going through, and guys, I have a feeling this last brick is regulations waiting for them. I also noticed the SEC guy sitting in this chair, it only has 3 legs. Guys, it looks like the SEC's case is about to topple over. And the last pretty interesting thing I noticed here is it looks like in the middle of the table we have these private ledgers with a lot of money on them. Guys, that is something I certainly hope is true. Anyway though, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope everyone out there has an awesome holiday season. Merry Christmas to everyone out there who celebrates, and for now, Mickle out.